Hello, friends, and welcome, welcome. So we're going to start by busting a couple of myths, and then we'll do a slightly shorter check-in this week. I think these are really helpful things to know. They definitely were for me in my practice. The biggest myth that there is out there about meditation is that we are trying to still the mind and have no thoughts. And that's just simply not true. The human has a brain, it's a thinking organism, right? And so we are going to have thoughts come in. The idea is that when they come in, we realize the mind has been off somewhere else, more often than not, somewhere in the past or somewhere in the future, but not here, not in this present moment, right? And so we're training the mind to try to come back to the present moment, right? And to be able to focus where we put our attention, not to focus, to choose where we put our attention and our focus, and learning that we have that choice and that we can be in charge of that, right? So it's not about clearing the mind, it's about learning to take your awareness and focus it where you want it so you can make the choice to have your attention. And hopefully we want it to be here in the present moment to experience this life that we're living right now at this current moment. So that's the first one. And then the second one that I hear a lot of people talk about is they think that meditation or mindfulness, right, is about the breath. And it's not. It's simply not. That is the most commonly taught anchor point that teachers use, myself included, right? But it's not that it's about the breath. The breath is simply a tool that we use, right? So the mind wants to wander off. I already mentioned that, right? It's going to think about other things. And so we want to bring it back. And a way that we can do that is to have an anchor point, which we bring it back to. The mind wanders off, we realize it's wandered off, we bring it back to the anchor point. It wanders off, we bring it back to the anchor point. And we want the anchor point to be something in the present moment. So the breath is one that's often very accessible to most humans. So a lot of teachers will use the breath. You're noticing the breath, right? Mind wanders off, bring it back, notice the breath. It's not about the breath, it's about the bringing the mind back. It's about the bringing the mind back, right? The return. So I could scan my body, and that might be my anchor point. I could use the anchor point of listening to the sounds that are happening around me. I could use a mantra, a repeated phrase, and then when the mind wanders off, I come back to the mantra. I could use a visualization, right? I'm in a forest by a body of water. The mind wanders off. Oh shit, I forgot to do that thing that I was going to do. I realize it. I come back to the visualization. So you can have different anchor points. It's not about the anchor point, it's about bringing the mind back, right? We're retraining the brain. So hopefully those two things make sense. So with that in mind, let's just do a short little check-in, right? Find your long spine, whatever position you're in, find your long spine. The longest one you got today at this moment in time. And we put a little bit of effort into that, right? Because we don't want to be a puddle on the floor, but we don't put so much that we become just this really rigid, erect spine and body, right? So find that happy medium. Notice if you have tension in the muscles of the face. Soften them. So I'm bringing us right to something in the present moment. Notice the neck and the throat, and if there's tension, soften. We're scanning the body. Notice the shoulders, and if there's tension, soften. And if the mind wanders off somewhere else, it's okay. When you realize it's wandered off, bring it right back to wherever we are. We're in the arms, hands and fingers, noticing, scanning, softening, bringing the awareness into the chest and the upper back, scanning through that torso, the mid torso, the belly and the low back, noticing, softening. And if the mind wandered off, maybe notice, not maybe, notice when you notice, right? You could even label it thinking and come back into the pelvis, softening the pelvis, softening the legs to the feet and the toes, and trying to take in that whole body all at one time. Focusing your attention on your physical body and any sensations you might be feeling. And maybe take a few moments here as we end to bring our awareness into our breath. So now we're going to switch anchor points. Now maybe you feel the belly gently moving away from the spine on the inhale and back to the spine on the exhale. Or maybe you sense your breath in your chest and you feel the movement of the ribs. Or maybe you sense your breath in the nostrils, the air as it enters or exits. Any of those work. And if you get anxious, go right back to the scanning if the scanning was working for you in a more beneficial way. But if it's available, tune into the breath, and you're not trying to shape it or mold it or control it or form it. You're trying to simply observe it. And chances are the mind has already gone off somewhere else. That's all right. Not a big deal. You might label that thinking. And then come back to whatever it is that you're working with as your anchor point. And bring those hands together in front of your heart. Inhale. As you exhale, bow your head in. And just noticing the relationship of the head to the heart. It's bowing towards the heart. And taking a moment of gratitude that you gave yourself the space and time. Maybe just taking in the effects of any differences you feel than when we started, or whatever that might be for you. And the light that shines within me sees and honors the light that shines within you. And we condense that down to that word, namaste. May you be well, friends. And hopefully that myth busting might be something that helps you. It sure helped me when I had teachers who opened that up for me. It made a world of difference in my meditation practice. Thank you very much for joining me. And Maura, get in here. Show them. Chee, chee, chee. That's my niece. And she loves me because I take her on walks every morning. Love you. Bye-bye.